and that is Heather. And thank you
Mhm.
all for sponsoring, because without sponsorships, I could keep my lights on and pay my Zoom bills. So thank you for helping me out. So Heather is one of my most cherished and experts in our group. She has been with us for some time now. And it took me a little while to get the rhythm of this book, but I tell you, get the book. It's called Create Your Own Table. Write a review for her. You will This is a book that anyone who's in a leadership position or doing community service or working with teams, you need to listen to her. So Heather is an author, and she is also a founder of a consulting firm, and she helps you create content. So over to you, Heather.
Thank you so very much, Elizabeth, and thank you again to our veterans. What an amazing story. I know what it is to be on a boat for pleasure and be seasick. So I can't even imagine what it is when literally your life and the life of everyone else that you're protecting is dependent on that. So thank you so much for everything that you all do. So the reason that so little bit of backstory. I have always been that individual driven by happiness. I came to the United States from Grenada back in 1995. Many of you certainly would likely remember the US intervention to Grenada back in 1983. And I came here to study architecture. That didn't quite go the way that I thought it would. Ended up getting my master's in environmental technology. I was an environmental consultant for 15 years. And during that time, I knew that that was not the vision that I had for my life. And I needed to figure out something else. I ended up segueing into the alcohol and spirits world. Spirits not like Sue, but spirits as in alcohol, because I'm quite familiar with your book as well. I know who my audience is. And I did that for 11 years. It was like this parallel career because a friend of mine who's also from Grenada, she worked for an alcohol distributor. And I absolutely loved it. I realized that I loved engaging with people. I loved teaching them new things. But as I started two businesses in that space, and COVID came along and it essentially ended all of it. And but I did also get to that point where I realized that I had a lot of knowledge that I wasn't leveraging. Very much by accident, I became a content creator because once all the once all the restaurants closed down and restaurants and bars, and I'm not no longer doing sales for my clients. I had an apartment that literally looked like a liquor store. And I'm like, what am I going to do with all of this product? And so I'm like, okay, I have a phone and I have a lot of time. I'm going to start creating content. And I became a content creator. I had gotten my first contract. I transitioned to natural hair, got a first natural hair client. And I'm like, oh, well, this is an interesting life. But again, very quickly, I became bored because I'm like, okay, Heather, you have a ton of knowledge. What are you going to do with it? And so I ended up writing what was my third book. So my first two books were in the alcohol space. And I wrote this book, Pivot, because life doesn't always go as planned. And the reason that I wrote this book is because I realized that I was stuck. I didn't want to be just defined as being an environmental consultant. I didn't want to be just defined as being a person that is in the alcohol space. And I didn't want to just be a person that was doing hair care, but I didn't know what it is that I wanted to do. And I kept shifting. And it never occurred to me until I started to get and read the feedback from that book that a lot of people stay very stuck and they're not certain what to do with all of this knowledge and all of this information that I have and or that they have. And I realized that for me, I'm like, well, I figure it out. And I realized that there was a thought process. There were things that I considered. There were steps that I took. And that is essentially how Dalton Creative Solutions was born from the standpoint of helping individuals curate that life that they desire. And having you understand that, as for many of us, we start our lives being asked to choose a career before we even know who we are. you're 18, 19 years old, you go to get this degree and you're supposed to live this life for the next 40, 50, 60 years. You have no clue who it is that you are. And as we evolve, we're not certain how to be able to have that information adjust and how to leverage it. And that was the reason that I wrote this book, Create Your Own Table, A Guide to Discovering Your Purpose. And as I had shared on several other interviews, when I wrote this book, it felt like the devil was literally running behind me. I'm like, I gotta get this done, and I gotta get this done now because it was February 4th. And the news was full of every single thing that was bad and traumatic, and people are losing jobs by the tens and hundreds of thousands. And it's a little bit tragic that we are having this conversation now at the end of the year and it doesn't feel any different. But when I saw all of that, I'm like, hold on a second. These are all the things that I understand how to do. I understand how to shift. I understand what people who are in a position for 20 and 30 years, they lose that job overnight and their identity has been connected with this position, the way that that displacement can just really erode at an individual's self-conscious, not their subconscious mind, they're just general, they are not, they're no longer motivated. They are not feeling that there's any value to them because for many people, especially people who have been in positions for a very long time, they don't know where that job ends from where they begin. And I'm like, you know what, Heather? You need to take all of that information and put it in here, which is exactly what I did. And there's certain, so for me, as the purpose of is for any table, right? A table, the purpose of a table is to serve. And for me, there are four pillars that I am generally guided by. And as I would often share, the size of your table is very much dependent on the vision that you have for your life. For some of us, your table may be smaller, others, it may be larger. We are all individuals. It's not going to be the same thing for everyone. But for me, I know one of the things that's critically important is intuition. I'm very much guided by it. At this point, I say, my intuitive muscles, if the rest of my body was like that, I would be in amazing shape. But not to digress. But just the power of intuition and being connected to and understanding what is your why, that reason that you're getting up in the morning, that thing that drives you, that thing that allows you to be able to present yourself differently in the world. And the questions you ask or the problems you solve is also a significant aspect, another one of my pillars, which is that often, especially in this day of AI, right? We have all of this technology, but you would only ever get out what it is that you put in. And in the age of AI, if you don't put in the right questions, you will never get out the level of responses that you actually need to be able to make a difference. And I keep thinking it's a little bit of it's the opposite of what we were always told because many times we're just very driven to find the answer. It's not even about truly understanding how to create the correct question. It's just end driven. It's completely end driven, and that those skills that's necessary to ask the right question are not is just not one of the things that we work on truly just polishing and owning. And then and then the first one, the last one, not letting your destination become your limitation. Because for so many of us, we are so focused on what the end game is, and we think we know what that's supposed to look like, and we lose all of the lessons along the way. But that's where life is. That's where all the amazing things are. And I know for me, if I didn't have a ton of failures, I would be completely useless. I literally package all of my problems and I put them in a program because I began to realize as I am sharing, there are other people that are going through the same struggles that I managed to be able to overcome. And as I often say, we are all at different stages of the same journey. Some of us a little bit are further ahead, others of us are behind, but we can support each other. And so, especially for veterans, but for many of us, there's so much value in the knowledge that we possess. It's not that we need to go out and do and get something else and get validation from someone else. Is really just pulling what it is that we already have within us and being able to share that with the world. And so that is my purpose at this point, to be able to support all of us together on this journey. Like I said, we're all on the same journey. We're at different stages, but I do believe in unity and strength. And thank you for your time and your service.
And tell us where we can get this wonderful book and
Oh,
your website. And Heather is offering some VIP gifts today, and
yes,
I
I
will make sure that you get those links. I think I put it in the newsletter, but we'll make sure you get that as well. So tell us about those wonderful
sure.
VIP gifts and where we can get the book.
So I will also make sure to include the link, but my book is available on Amazon, but it's also available at a lot of major retailers as well, like Barnes and Noble and Walmart. It is available in Audible, and you can get it also on Apple, Google Play, but I made sure that I provided it in different formats depending on what your need is. My website is doltam.com. That's DOLTAM.com. But as far as what I would like to offer today, so my quote deck, so I created this quote deck based on the book because not everybody has time to go through a whole book when you're going through challenges, right? It is what it is. That is life. So each one, so it's a 52 pack cards there. Not the best at these presentations, as you can tell. But for each of these, for example, it's based on the pillars. So, for example, on this one, on this card, it says like your intuition is the first architect of your purpose. And the reason that I created these is because sometimes we go through ebbs and flow in life. It is just what it is. And you just need that little pick me up, that thing to remind you. And that is a purpose that these cards serve. So in this card reads, this is under don't let your destination become your limitation. And it reads on this card, your path can still change and still be perfect. So you get the idea. The point is that I'm providing all of these for free electronically. So you will be getting that in that link that would be shared, as well as the last chapter in my book, which is the four pillars that this is based upon. You'll be getting that in the audio format, and certainly if you'd like to book some time on my calendar to chat, I'm more than happy to do that because that is how I serve. So thank you. Elizabeth, you're quiet.
Yeah, I live around veterans and also people who work for the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. But because of the government shutdown, they're home and they love cutting their grass and raking their leaves, and so they do it all the time, like every single day. And then we have aircrafts going above because this is a pilot training area. So I try to put my mute on so y'all don't hear the background sounds, but this is what's going on with my neighbors and the airways. So anyway, so that's what's going on with me. All right, so thank you, Heather, and get the VIP gifts. They are available to each and every one of you, and we'll make sure that it's also available when you subscribe. You've got to subscribe to our channel, otherwise you can't get all these wonderful gifts. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and I will now